Our business globalization project selected the fast fashion industry as our study to discover how this industry performs in the global environment. The presentation flow will follow an overview on the industry first, then we will present our companies individually to explain their performance under globalization. Then we will analyze Porter 5 forces and the PEST analyze in the end. First of all, we need to clarify what is fast fashion. The term fast fashion refers to production process that are expedited in order to get new trends to the market as quickly and cheaply as possible. This often causes new styles and trends to become obstacles in a matter of weeks. Fast fashion is brought mostly by young customers who have a deep desire to look stylish and appear on trend.
Zara is a Spanish clothing and accessories retailer founded in 1975 by Amancio Ortega. It's the flagship of the Inditex Group and the leader in the fast fashion industry, with a unique business model based on a quick turnover of merchandise in the stores. Looking at some relevant data, Zara generated $19.7 billion in 2015, and it has over 2,100 stores across 88 countries. Moving on to the operational challenges section, Zara needed to change and adapt to the Chinese market because online shopping is becoming more and more popular in China. In fact, Chinese retail websites sold 3,877 trillion yuan worth of goods in 2015. So, what did Zara do? Zara launched a store on Tmall in October of 2014 to strengthen its position in a country that is already its second biggest by store numbers behind Spain. Zara serves the needs and consumer preferences in a superior way over its competitors due to its good operations management. There are several success factors in Zara's production process that help them meet customer needs and enhance product desirability, like extensive product variety and short cycle time. In order to overcome the first operational challenge, Zara adapted its business model to the local market by setting web control and share of profits to Alibaba. Even though Alibaba takes share of profits on Tmall, it lets retailers maintain control of their interactions with clients. Zara now has two online platforms to serve the Chinese market, its own online store and Tmall. Zara meets its customer needs through a unique business model based on a constant feedback between stores and designers. Its highly responsive supply chain means that clothing racks in Zara stores are always changing, being able to release new items every 2 weeks. Therefore, we can say that Zara's main sources of competitive advantage are vertical integration that allows Zara to have control over the value chain and responds fast to consumer demand and product availability with short lead times.
And I will move on to the findings of the H&M. H&M Group is one of the leading fast fashion companies in global. It owns a mission to create the best customer offering and the best experience for their customers. H&M had been started business as a brand new fashion chain for women in Sweden in 1947. Their rapid growth began from Europe and further extended to the US and Asian market. In this year, there are 4,200 stores in 64 markets. Today, the H&M is still extending their business in global market. In order to achieve their mission, H&M faces some operational challenges. Lack of control in production is one of the major challenges to them. As H&M does not own any factories, it is difficult for them to fully monitor production. They get manufactured products from 820 suppliers located in different countries. It has difficulty to order right quantity at right time with low cost in production. Integration of sales channels is another challenge. Rapid expansion is the strength of H&M. The strong expansion continues in both retail and online stores. However, due to fast development and different shopping patterns in diverse markets, it is difficult to predict customers' behavior. In order to predict future behavior accurately, H&M has to integrate sales channels in each market. In order to manage cost in production, H&M applies mixed arbitrage approaches in production. For economic approach, H&M applied outsourcing for production, which reduces cost in investment. It helps H&M to lower both maintenance and opportunity cost. For geographic approach, H&M gets manufactured products from the proximal suppliers. In order to manage delivery time, most products in Asia market are delivered from the suppliers in Asia. Also, their production offices are located in Asia and Europe, which located closely with their suppliers. It helps them to contact constantly with suppliers. In order to exceed customers' expectation, H&M has adapted innovation to develop on sales channels. Today, reverse sales channel is available in H&M. If customers are not satisfied with their purchase, they are able to move back to the purchase process. Changing or refunding is available in a period of time. Also, online and offline channels are strongly integrated today. By adapting technology, using mobile app to scan barcode in offline stores can be linked to the online shops. This innovative adaptation not only makes transaction easy, but also offer H&M opportunities to better predict purchase behavior in specific market.
Now I'll talk about another famous company in fast fashion industry such as Uniqlo. Uniqlo is from Japan and it's a apparel retailer brand. The name was originally Unique Clothing Warehouse, but one of the staffs at the time made a huge mistake, and this led to Uniqlo. When the staff registered for its brand name, he misread the spelling, and it became now the fourth largest apparel brand in the world, the Uniqlo. And this brand has focused on the global expansion with various strategies. Then let's talk about what kind of global activities that they did. So Uniqlo firstly opened new stores, one in Shanghai, China, and other four in London, and they opened 3 stores in New Jersey, US. But unfortunately, the sales in those Western countries such as London and US led to the huge decline of the profits. So the management team decided to implement the strategy for globalization and finally became famous brand in the world. To become a global brand, they mainly had 2 challenges. Firstly, as I mentioned before, Uniqlo opened 3 stores in New Jersey with lots of investment. However, the result was different to what they expected. This negative sales record led to immediate failure in US. The CEO of Uniqlo US said, "No one knew who we are." Simply the lack of brand awareness was the crucial reason for the failure. Secondly, the CEO also mentioned the other points of reasons of failure. You are in a small ordinary space, people need a reason to get excited about you. So what kind of meanings was behind this message? Simply Western customers such as from US and UK not only had no information about the brand, but also found no unique points of brand at all. Simply, even though they had a lot of similar brands in their countries, why do we need to choose Uniqlo paying similar or more money? They didn't find any unique points about the brand. Accordingly, no differentiation obviously led to the lack of competition in this market. Then how they survive and implement? Firstly, they open flagship stores by localizing its culture to the stores. One of the greatest examples is the one in Soho, New York. It was the first global flagship stores of Uniqlo. Since flagship stores work well in the state, Uniqlo decided to expand into London, Shanghai, Paris, and the other countries. By understanding its culture and localizing those to the stores, it created new experience to customers. Another solution was to collaborate with famous brands. Interestingly, those famous brands were not limited to fashion retail brand. Uniqlo collaborated with cafe, museum, celebrities, which was different from its competitors. The famous example is La Durée collaboration. La Durée is a luxury French macaron brand. During Christmas season, Uniqlo made a huge Christmas tree in the store with luxury brand logo and products. Customers were able to participate those events by picking up any macarons they want. So according to the color they choose, Uniqlo gave the collaboration t-shirt to customer as the gift. Moreover, they donate those profits to the non-profit foundation called IVY to help children suffering from huge earthquake in Japan in 2011. Like this collaboration led to synergy effect. Since people have higher expectation for those luxury brands, the collaborations increase not only brand awareness but also the brand image. The last strategy was to expand to large-scale stores. If you have been to Uniqlo stores, it's obvious that they always have bigger size of stores compared to the other stores. The reason was to draw attention of local customers. Actually, the standard size of stores were 700 to 800 square meters of sales floor space. However, Uniqlo decided to expand its size bigger than the standard. So with those mega stores, Uniqlo finally became successful by showing customers its uniqueness and convenience. According to the survey, customers feel convenient when they are shopping around the huge stores. Therefore, the customers who were satisfied also contribute to increase its brand awareness. Through the word of mouth, Uniqlo was able to successfully and stably settle down in many countries.
The final company we have chosen is an Irish company named Primark. Primark was firstly introduced as Penny in Ireland in 1969. Now they got 325 stores across UK, Ireland, and Europe. Recently, they have expanded their market into Boston, the USA. The first flat shop outside of Europe opened in 2015. Primark's production line consists in many offshore suppliers in Europe and Asia. China, India, Bangladesh, and Turkey are their key sourcing countries. The first operational challenge for Primark is the Rana Plaza building collapse that triggered public awareness of its business ethics. Rana Plaza is one of the Primark's global suppliers factories in Bangladesh. There were 1,129 people were found dead on 24th April in 2013. Primark has been seen criticized for neglect of their labors. Primark immediately responded after the disaster in order to gain back customer faith and maintain a good reputation of business ethics to the shareholders and customers. The second operational challenge for Primark would be the logistic problems. Since Primark opened up their new flagship store outside of Europe, there is an issue of logistics in that they don't have any warehouse in the US. US stores rely on shipping inventory from Europe, which increase their logistic costs since they have an ambitious plan on creating more stores in the US in the coming years. Therefore, Primark can let the clothing manufactured in Asian factories cross the Pacific through the Panama Canal and up to the East Coast, or begin sourcing in countries closer to the US, for example, Costa Rica and Mexico. As for Primark's business strategies to deal with the challenge mentioned above, we will discuss the arbitrage approach in AAA. The arbitrage approach is what ultimately got Primark involved in the Rana Plaza accident because the arbitrage approach involves producing where it is the cheapest and selling where it is most profitable. Outsourcing in developing countries can cut down the labor costs. Moreover, Primark established a program to improve conditions in the garment sectors so as to avoid labor strikes in order to cut down on extra costs on the solving such problems. As for logistic challenge, Primark will cut down on the logistics costs and capitalize in different countries, for example, manufacturing in emerging market and shipping to the US, so that the production process is cheaper and then selling to the US will garner the most profits. This way does not only take advantages of the economic factors of the arbitrage approach, but also the geographic advantages in order to maximize profit.
The fast fashion retail market will be analyzed, taking retailers as players. The key buyers will be taken as individual consumers, and clothing manufacturers and wholesalers as the key suppliers. Threat of new entrants is assessed as low due to the economies of scale that large corporations such as H&M, Zara, and Uniqlo benefit from. Moreover, level of government regulation can be beneficial or detrimental depending on the country regulations. Some of them introduce protectionist measures to support their domestic industries, having a huge impact on retailers importing their products from foreign suppliers. In other cases, there are trade agreements in place that allow more apparel into the country at very low prices, increasing imports from low-cost production countries. Thus, this barrier really depends on the country we are analyzing. On the other hand, brand identification and product differentiation play a significant role, creating a barrier to entry. The dominating companies in the industry have been able to create brand recognition and achieve differentiation through branding. Establishing a stable brand reputation is a long-term process, and new entrants must compete against already established brands such as Zara, H&M, Uniqlo, Gap, and American Apparel. Threat of substitutes is inexistent. There is nothing to substitute clothes with, so this force is almost negligible because all substitution in the fashion industry is a really just competition among retailers. The bargaining power of suppliers is low because there are a lot of suppliers in the apparel industry. Raw materials are sufficient and widely offered in some developing countries, such as China, Vietnam, and India, being the cheapest sourcing locations in the world. The bargaining power of buyers is moderate, despite the fact that brand consciousness in the market is substantial. The loyalty of consumers to specific brands is not always the overriding factor in the decision making process. Buyer power is enhanced by a high level of choice, which is generated by the absence of switching costs. However, the large number of customers compared to the fast fashion retailers, along with the low possibility of customer integration, lowers the bargaining power of customers. Besides, retailers can differentiate themselves fairly strongly through the styles of clothing offered and the price range of this clothing, meaning buyer power is weakened. Rivalry is intense in fast fashion apparel industry. There is a high number of players in the market, meaning there is a low firm concentration ratio. Top brands have a high percentage of market share compared to other firms. So looking at the graph, the dark blue bar shows the market share percentage in 2014, while the light blue refers to the percentage of the brand market share in 2004.
Political changes affect business in fast fashion industry, which may result in rapid changes of customers' purchase behavior. Changes in free trade agreement affects purchasing costs for each organization. After the removal of textile quota restriction for import in 145 WTO members from 2005, it favors fast fashion companies to rely on outsourcing in production. Organizations such as H&M and Primark increased number of outsourcing from Asia after the removal of restriction. Political instability such as Brexit also has impact on companies in fast fashion. Primark, as a fast fashion company in the UK, have benefited from a weak pound which fell against to the euro and dollar following Brexit. However, in long term, the ABF, which is the parent company of the Primark, said there would be an adverse transactional effect on the profit margin on Primark's UK sales. Economic factors are correlated to consumer spending in fast fashion industry. Although the companies have created jobs in the suppliers' countries, labor practices are issued several times. To overcome challenges on global labor, Zara has built establishment of works councils within Inditex's supply chain. Rising prices of raw materials significantly affect costs of manufacturing. To respond to the trend, Uniqlo outsources the textile production to low-cost manufacturing countries such as China, Vietnam, Bangladesh, or Indonesia. It results that the Uniqlo has cut production costs. Increase in disposable income generates higher spending in the fast fashion industry. Although the total number of customers is decreasing due to the higher unemployment rate, amount of money that each customer spends is higher. Uniqlo adapts to the changes by membership system. It attracts more loyal customers to sustain long-term relationship.
Now I want to talk about social factors. Social factors for globalization have huge impact on fashion industry. Those factors are related to different religions, demographics, lifestyle, and etc. Since the fast fashion industry is so sensitive about its trend, it's really important for those companies to consider social factors. Firstly, religion shows the cultural system and practice of the country. To become a global fashion brand, they also need to consider religious belief on their clothes. For example, Uniqlo had partnership with Hana Tajima, a well-known Muslim fashion blogger as well as a designer. Since women from Muslim cannot wear any shorts, they had few choices for clothes. However, Uniqlo launched new collection called Special Modest Wear Collection for Muslims. Secondly, different lifestyle influence how people wear the clothes. For example, in the States, since the dominant main foods are greasy foods such as pizza or hamburger, the body size of the people is relatively bigger than the other countries. However, Zara didn't consider these lifestyle factors, which at first led to the failure. Zara was providing the same clothes with same size without any size differentiation in the state, and therefore Zara was struggled. Thirdly, buying trend is about how customers spend their money. It's obvious that all countries have different buying power regarding to GDP. Zara did a good job on searching for customer spending patterns before they launched the stores in foreign countries. By following changing trend with good estimation of spending patterns, Zara became a global brand. Last one is about the fashion itself and the role models. Every country has different taste of fashion. In addition, young adult females often compare their physical attractiveness with that of the models in fashions and cosmetic advertisement. It means that the fashion style of some country is highly influenced by the celebrities. H&M has attracted a lot of customers by considering this factor. When H&M tried to launch store in Bangladesh, they knew that Bangladesh customers love bright colors. So H&M provide clothes according to the taste. Recently, they also made K-pop section in the stores with Korean style clothes. Let's move on to the last factor about technology. In 21st century, technology development has been dramatically fast. It provides a key, such as an e-commerce, to fashion industry, especially for globalization, because internet has no limit all over the world. Firstly, through e-commerce and internet, technological factors enable both customers and the brand to acquire information easily. For example, Zara, Uniqlo, and H&M followed and create the fast fashion trends through information they get from the internet. Secondly, technological factor provides social media which connect to the customers and the brands to mutually communicate. For example, Zara is famous for its good interaction and communication with customers through social medias. Moreover, ASOS, a British online clothing retailer, became so successful through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram because many famous celebrities Rihanna and Beyonce followed ASOS. Third one is about online shopping. Technology development has made convenient shopping trend in the world. No matter where you are in the world, you can just simply buy or return the goods that you want. Uniqlo, for example, activate e-commerce store by providing different range of sizes that were not available in offline stores. Simply, they attract customers to online stores for long-term growth. Lastly, although a lot of benefits would impact the fast fashion industry, it still has a lot of limitations. Compared to other industries, fashion industry cannot be wholly replaced with machine due to the fast changing fashion trend. The limited automation leads to highly labor-intensive culture in this industry. However, it's clear that technology still takes huge part in our life. This is end of our presentation. Thank you so much.